Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we will be painting again one winter scenery, a candle in the snow. And well, I know it's not logical that there is a candle burning when it's snow falling, but why not? This is magical, dreamy, so why not? I started with making my sketch, and I did this time make the sketch on just a regular printing paper and then trace it using a graphite paper onto my watercolor paper. That is how I usually do it if the sketch is just a little bit more demanding, if it's not very simple. But if it is simple, I do sketch it on a watercolor paper, although I do not recommend that, because when you do sketch on a watercolor paper, you will probably erase, and that could tear up your paper or smudge it, so just avoid that. Do the sketch onto just regular any paper you have, and then trace it onto watercolor paper using a graphite paper, your window, or maybe scribble on the back of your paper, and then with just a regular pencil, and then trace it. After I finished with my sketch, I moved on to privetting the paper, and I've privetted everything around the candle and that little cup or bowl that the candle is in, candle holder, and then moved on to painting the sky. And first I'm using yellow, and as you can see, I'm not just painting one single wash, but I'm just doing the horizontal strokes and making it look like though not really clouds, but maybe there is a sunset further away, even though it's snowing. Who says it can be a sunset also? So I've just made those horizontal lines and also painted in the part where the snow is, but a little bit lighter than the sky, and then used, this is mix of blue, I think something like turquoise blue and one darker blue and a black to get that it is a blue but slightly grayish color, and then also added it to my sky and also in between those yellow parts and also to my snow. And just beneath the candle holder, I've added just a little bit of black for the shadow. Now I'm using a little bit smaller brush to add in some details to the sky and also to my snow, some shadows maybe from the ups and downs in the snow, and also something resembling clouds in the sky. Again, when finished with that, I've mixed some yellow and blue to get this greenish color, very light wash. And then on the right side where my tree is, I'm just tapping in regularly, absolutely irregularly, that green color. And then on top of it, I've added just a little bit of black to that mix, adding that. And also the last layer I will be adding is the black. So this is, I'm actually using this time a little bit smaller brush, that script brush, liner brush, that's quite thin brush, and that's my replacement for my old liner brush. And I'm just doing the wiggly lines, mimicking some tree branches, and as you're adding it, they will smudge, they will bleed because the paper is wet. But since this is a very thin brush, it can hold very little water, so it won't bleed too much. It will bleed just enough to get the impression that there are some branches, something a little bit further away from us and not really in a focus. Also with that script brush, I've added a horizon line and then turned my paper around. And now I've just privetted that part just above the horizon line, and then again with the same mix of colors, blues and black, I've added in a little bit of paint and let it bleed slightly to make it look as though there is some forest further away, some trees, and then turn it around again and added a little bit of black. And this time again with this small detail brush, I've added in a couple of lines just to make it a little bit more looking like a forest. And when finished with that, I left it to dry completely. For this, the paper has to be very dry because we don't want our paint from the candle to bleed into our background. This we do want to have a harsh lines, and I've added just a little bit of yellow, mix of yellow and red to get somewhat orangey color. Painted in the flame, then the candle, and as you can see, the right side of the candle I'm painting in orange, and the lower part of the candle I'm painting in that same mixture that is slightly bluish, grayish bluish, and also in black to make it look as though that part is in the shadow and a little bit darker, and the part that is upper on the right side is highlighted by that little flame, so it is a little bit lighter and warmer. And the flame, of course, I've painted in with the yellow, again that orange, and just the lowest part where that I'm not sure how that is called, the lowest part of the flame I've painted in again with that mixture of blues and black, because that part does look a little bit cooler where the flame starts. That part is a little bit darker. And then moved on to painting that little bowl or candle holder, and I've painted in the lower part inside and also outside. I painted a little bit darker, looking though as it is in shadow, and upper parts a little bit lighter. There are also in shadow, but a little bit less. There is some also light from the snow reflecting on them, so that is a little bit lighter part. And for the candle holder I'm using again blue, and this time I've added just a little bit of turquoise blue to make it slightly warmer than the other parts of the blues I'm using, than the candle and the inside of the candle holder. So that part is a little bit lighter. I'm just going back and forward doing some details where I think that is necessary, because when watercolors dry, they of course become a little bit lighter or a lot lighter. So as I'm just going here and there on my candle and also the candle holder, one part dries, I add a little bit more pigment, the other part meanwhile dries, so I've added there a little bit more of the pigment. I'm just looking as where I find it necessary, where I find it missing, so that is where I'm just adding the pigment. And of course, if you're satisfied with the first layer, you don't have to add any more pigment, but if not, just add as many layers as you think needed to make it look as you want it to look. Again, that little holder that is for the fingers that you can hold your candle holder with, painting in orange. I do want that part to be again a little bit warmer. As you can see, I have used a cooler tones, but also I have used a warmer tones. You know, that blue grayish, it's darker tone, but I've also used for the sky is a cooler tone, but I've also used for the sky warmer tones, and I've used for the trees warmer tones, and for the snow I've used warmer tones, but for the candle I'm using orange because that is even, I guess, warmer. That gives even more, makes it even more a focus point, makes it even more stand out, you know, and it's an accent color here. So I've added it on that little holder and also on my candle, that darkest, brightest orange color. And as you can see, I'm just doing again some details, painting some part of the holder in the shadows, some not. And again, when my candle dried, I'm adding just a little bit more of that blue to some parts of that grayish blue to some parts to make it even darker. And as I said, you don't have to be bothered with how many layers I'm doing. Just do as many layers as you think needed for your painting. So even if I'm going back and forth and doing more details, you don't have to do it. If you don't find it necessary, if you're satisfied with your details level, you don't have to add anymore. Right now, again, I'm using a script brush, and just with the black this time, the tree is completely dry. I'm adding a couple of lines, and you can see my lines are broken for the branches. So just don't paint the entire line. Just add very, very thin lines here and there. Just make it look as though some branches there sticking. They're not visible from that. Maybe that's a tree that is actually evergreen, so there are leaves on it. And don't paint the entire branches, just here and there some thin lines mimicking the branches. And right now with the white gouache, I'm adding in some details for the highlights. As you can see, just here and there again on my candle, and that candle holder, I'm just adding a white gouache. Some also details to our forest in a further away. It was looking too smudged to me, so I did want that line that is the border between our forest and our snow to be a little bit darker and a little bit more visible, so I've added a little bit black to it. And as the last thing, I've added some snow with a white gouache and also mixed in just a little bit of that mix of ours, blues and black, to white gouache, and also sprinkled that just to make that snow visible on the lower part, and also because our sky is quite light, so white won't be so visible, so added also a little bit of that grayish sprinkles. Last thing, I've added a wick with just regular black. I think that's called wick, right? And with that, I'll be finishing off this painting and of course this video. Thank you guys a lot for watching, for all your support. I really do hope you like it. If you do, please hit the like button, share it, comment. If you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. That would really mean a lot to me. Consider maybe joining my channel. That's that button next to the subscribe button. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!